Hi, this is Dr. Richard Jolliff, and I want to welcome you to Leadership to Go. In this broadcast, we're going to be talking about some specific things with goal planning. I trust that your year is underway and great things are happening, and you're already moving forward to where you want to be by the conclusion of this year. It's kind of sad for a lot of folks because they set a lot of goals and resolutions at the beginning of the year, but then by the time that this month of May comes around, usually those goals are long forgotten and those resolutions are broken and we're just sort of settling in. Well, we have great opportunity to refire some of those goals and ideas in our life, but let's just kind of strategically lay out some things as we're looking at this with Leadership to Go, how that you and I can refire those goals back in our life. And the first is that going back to the reason for setting those goals. You always have to, that's really where the motivation comes from. Goals really are just the ability to accomplish objectives that we have in our life, things that we're very passionate about, things that we really want to see take place. Those really tie deeply to our purpose. And when we finally sort out what all of that is, goals really become much easier to be able to accomplish, but they become very difficult for us whenever we're just doing jobs, tasks, if you will. And, some of you might have on your phone or on your computer or on a tablet what's called a task list. And nothing wrong with task lists except that a task list is just a bunch of jobs. And usually they're just things that need to be done, not really things that are strategically moving you forward. And I'm a big believer in being strategic in what you're doing. And so if you're struggling with accomplishing the things that need to be done, the first place to go is back to motivation. Why are you doing what you're doing? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is the purpose behind that? It becomes much easier to be able to set those goals once you have tied them to a specific motivation or a purpose. Out of that, we feel more missional in what we're doing. We feel more accomplished in what we're doing. We feel like we're really on target, especially as a pastor or a leader within the church or even as a Christian believer. We feel much more passionate about what we're doing if we know somehow it's tied to the overall picture of what we're doing instead of just a bunch of jobs that need to be done. And so I see this as one of the great dilemmas with task and goal setting. And so I just want to walk you through some of the strategies that we use at Amazing Grace Church and that I use personally for myself. I learned much of this from Dr. Lynn Hood, which really helped me a lot in the goal planning process. But as I sit down and look at what we're going to do for 2015, what we're going to accomplish, we begin to look at really the purpose of why we're here. What are we here to do? And once we've determined that, who is it we're trying to minister to or to be able to help? Once we've sorted out all of that, we're able to move into that next level and become much more missional. How do we want to accomplish that? So what are the ways that we're going to accomplish our purpose, the people that we want to reach? And then after we have reached that how to, we begin to set objectives or vision, that ties into that how to. So this is what it's going to look like. We follow this principle. It's called the 4 Ds. And whenever we're setting up to do a project, and the first thing that comes with that is the first D is define. We have to define what it is that we want to do. Secondly, after we define what we want to do, then we have to delineate. We go into more detail. This is, different aspects of it. But then there's this important element we add after we delineate, and that is this: determine. What's it going to look like? And that's really vision. If this goes the way it's supposed to, what's it really going to look like? What do we want this to appear like? And then after we've done the determine factor, then we can begin to delegate the process to other people. But I think for us as leaders, many times what ends up happening is that we define and we actually delineate. Some of us are very, very good at that, but we don't really determine, now look, when this is done, this is what I really want this to look like. And that's, I think, where we get frustrated as leaders because it doesn't end up looking like the way that we wanted. And maybe we've allowed too much creative license, or maybe they just clearly didn't understand what it was our expectation was. And just because we have an information sheet that says, I want this done, this done, this done, remember, that's all tasks. So vision is the motivator. Without a vision, the Bible tells us people perish. And so vision is the motivator. So vision is where I determine, now this is what this is going to look like. This is what I see happening when we do this. And then at that point, we're ready to begin to delegate. And that's really where vision comes into play in the whole goal planning process. If I begin to walk through and to determine what it is I see these things accomplishing, then I can, if they're doing what they're supposed to do, then I can really move into that goal planning process. So what we do is that what I will do in my life is that I will go through and talk about the different aspects of the vision, whether it's our small groups or it's our church services or it's some outreach that we're going to be doing. People are really motivated by vision. They really are. And not by words, but they're motivated by vision. And in fact, when words do motivate people, it's because they're connecting those words to image and images. And so those images are the motivating factors. So what I believe you have to do out of this is that you start setting objectives or certain points of destination, and then you begin to break those points of destination out of your vision down into goals. And we always teach, this is not anything new, but we always teach to do SMART goals, and that's that they're specific, they're measurable, they're obtainable, they're relevant to what you're trying to actually accomplish, and they're time intensive. So now when we come back next time, we'll talk a little bit more about how to take this process to the next level, involving some other people. I'll share with you some of the programs and things that I've come across that are really beneficial in helping to involve your team into this goal planning process. And I think it'll be a great help to you. We use a tool called the 6 M's that's absolutely powerful. I'll share a little bit with you about that. We have very seldom have any kind of project failure because of following the 6M process. So I'll walk you through that in our next time together. Let me encourage you, click on the thumbs up right here below this video, if you would. Just click on that or G plus it, or share it on your webpage, or share it on your Facebook page or your Gmail account or wherever you can share it. But I really hope that this today has been an encouragement to you, especially if you're feeling a little lost and discombobulated right now and the tyranny of the urgents begin to take over. Look, you have a great opportunity in front of you. We can refire those goals, get you back on purpose, and moving forward. I'll talk to you next month. Till then, Richard Jolliff proclaiming to you, may all of God's richest and best continue to be yours.